Hi, welcome to the next video. In this series we will discuss about magnetic field. So in first video we will discuss about what is the effect of magnetic fields, and from next videos we will discuss how magnetic fields are produced. So let us first study that if there is a magnetic field in a region, say I have a region X which has a magnetic field, and I keep for the magnetic field, suppose it is coming out of the paper, out of your screen, um, and I keep a charge q. This is a charge body, its charge is q and it is at rest. So a magnetic field does not have any effect on a charged body which is at rest. But interestingly, if I give this charged body a velocity v, then the magnetic field begins to exert a force on this charge q, and it starts, because of the force, it starts accelerating or it changes its direction. So the important conclusion from this discussion is a magnetic field has no effect on a charge which is at rest, but once the charge is given a motion, then the magnetic field starts to exert a force on this charged body which is at motion, and the magnitude of that charge is given, or magnitude of that force, or the force is given by, force is a vector, so the force is given by the relation F is equal to Q V cross B. So whenever there is a charged body in motion in a magnetic field, the magnetic field exerts a force on the charged body, then the force is given by F is equal to Q V cross B. Now one interesting thing which I wanted to discuss here is magnetic field and electric field. Magnetic field and electric field are two sides of the same coin. That's why a magnetic and electric field are known as electromagnetic fields. It depends on whether you see a magnetic field or an electric field. It depends on your reference frame. For example, suppose there is an observer who is at rest. He observes that a charged body in motion is experiencing a force, and hence he concludes that there is a magnetic field. So in his frame of reference, he sees that there is a magnetic field in this region. But another observer moves at a same velocity as the charged body. To him, this charged body is at rest. But because this is moving at a constant velocity and both are inertial frame of reference, because this is seeing that this body is experiencing a force, this person or this observer who is moving at a velocity v is also seeing that this charge q is experiencing a force, but to him this charged body is at rest. So the only conclusion he will draw, why this charge is experiencing a force, he will draw a conclusion that there is this charged body is experiencing a force, then he will conclude that there is an electric field in a region. Therefore, the same effect, same electromagnetic field is there in a region. To one observer may say that there is a magnetic field, and another observer which is moving at a velocity v, this observer will conclude that there is an electric field. So magnetic and electric field are two sides of the same coin. Magnetic field is nothing but electric field in motion, and it depends on your frame of reference, which reference frame of you are there to make a conclusion whether the region has a magnetic field or an electric field. Next, let us discuss about, we know that the magnetic field is F is equal to Q V cross B. So how to find out the direction of the resultant force? So now force is a cross product of two vectors, velocity and magnetic field. So the force should be perpendicular to both velocity as well as the magnetic field. Now suppose, consider this example. In this example, before we proceed, let us discuss one convention. Whenever we want to depict any vector which is coming out of your screen, whose direction, suppose the magnetic field is coming out of your screen, then the notation of that is a circle with a dot. It's like you are seeing an arrow which is coming out of your screen and you are seeing the tip of the arrow. But if you want to denote the convention for a magnetic field which is going into the screen is a cross, a circle with a cross inside. It is as if you are seeing the end or the feather portion of the arrow which is going inside the screen. So if the magnetic field is coming outside the screen or towards you, then it is denoted by a circle with a dot, and if it is going inside the screen, then it is denoted by a circle with a cross. So in our example, we have a magnetic field in this region, and the direction of that magnetic field is coming towards us or out of the screen of the computer towards you, and in that I project a charged particle with a velocity v in the upward direction as shown in the figure here. So there are two possible, so this is the velocity direction, this is the coming out of the magnetic field direction. Now the resultant force on this is perpendicular to both the velocity as well as the magnetic field, should be perpendicular to both velocity and the magnetic field. Now there are two possible directions which are both perpendicular to V as well as the B. One is towards the left and other towards the right. So which is the direction of the force? So the direction of the force can be found out by applying the right hand thumb rule. So the right hand thumb rule says in any vector product is you have to point your finger towards the first vector, which is V vector here. So here I am pointing my fingers towards the upward direction, which is the direction of the V vector, and you have to point your palm, or you have to direct your palm towards the second vector, which in this case is the B vector. So I am pointing the palm towards us because B is coming towards us. So the resultant force, the direction of the force will be given by the direction in which the thumb is pointing, which in this case is towards the right. So in this case, the direction, if V is in this direction, so I will point my fingers top, and B is towards us, so I will point my palms towards us. So the resultant force will be given by the direction of the thumb. Similarly, in the opposite case, if the B is going inside and V is going up, then if I point the velocity or my fingers towards velocity and point my palm towards the second vector, which is B, which is downward, so if I just reverse my palm so that the palm faces downward, then my thumb will point this direction, and so my resultant force will also be towards the left. Another example, I have my V first vector velocity which is pointing towards this direction. I project my charged particle towards left. B is again coming out of the screen or towards us, so we point our fingers towards the first vector, which is the V vector, V cross B, and the second, and we face our palm towards us, or the direction of the second vector, which is B vector. So B is coming out, so palm is facing towards us, and the resultant is the direction in which the thumb is pointing. So here F will be towards the toward top. So this is the way to find out the direction of the resultant, which is given by the cross product of two vectors. So let us study in little more detail about the exact effects of what happens to a charged particle when it is in motion in a uniform magnetic field. So first case is F. So we know that F is equal to Q V cross B. So let us take a special case in which velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field, or velocity, like in this example I project the vector in the plane of our screen. Okay, I project the vector in the plane of our screen, and the magnetic field in this case is going inside the screen, or is going away from us. So in this case our velocity is exactly perpendicular to the magnetic field. So theta is 90 degree here. So force is equal to Q into V into B sine of 90 degrees, and sine of 90 degree is 1. So here force is always perpendicular to the velocity, and let us say that the particle starts with a velocity v at this point, and a force will act perpendicular to the velocity. If I apply the right hand thumb rule, we will come to know that the force is acting towards the left here, and because of this force the particle will change direction, and so it will curve toward here. Now again here the net resultant velocity will be changed because of the force, and so the new direction of force because of this velocity is again will be perpendicular to the velocity, which will be in something like this, and again it will change the direction. So the new velocity direction will be here, and again because of that the force has to be perpendicular to the velocity, and again the direction of force will change. So always the force will be directed towards the center, and it is similar to a circular motion where velocity is perpendicular to the force, or the centripetal force. So this when a charged particle is projected perpendicular to the magnetic field, it will go round and round in circles. And let us find out what will be the radius of that circle. So that radius of the circle will be given by so we know that in case of circular motion, this force, centripetal force, should be equal to the centrifugal force. So centripetal force, or the force which is drawn towards the center, is given by this formula QVB, which should be equal to the centrifugal force, and we know the formula for centrifugal force is mv square by r. So if we just solve this equation, cancel out the extra v from one v from both sides, we will get r is equal to mv by qb. Now since this is going round and round in a circle with a uniform velocity, it will have a periodic motion, and it will complete one revolution in a fixed amount of time, and that is called the time period of the revolution. So let us find the time period of revolution. A time period of revolution in a circular motion, we know that it is equal to 2 pi r, which is the length of the circumference, divided by the velocity, tangential velocity, which is, so circumference is nothing but the tangential length divided by the tangential velocity is the time. Distance by velocity is time. So this we can further simplify if we substitute the value of r which we got from this, into here. If we just substitute the value of r, we will get the time period t will be equal to 2 pi m just substituting the value of r and cancelling out the v terms. So 2 pi m by qb. And the frequency of this circular motion, frequency, we know that frequency is simply 1 by time period. Inverse of time period is frequency. So frequency will be just qb by 2 pi m. So this is what happens when a when a charged particle is thrown perpendicular to is given a velocity perpendicular magnetic field. Let us also quickly discuss the general case of say I have a magnetic field B. I have a magnetic field. So assume that this is a 3D view. I have a magnetic field, and I have in a general I have given a velocity v to a charged particle whose charge is q, and the velocity makes an angle of theta with the magnetic field. So how to solve this type of problems? This is easy. This velocity, then we will resolve into two components. One component will be along the magnetic field, which will be v cos theta, and one we will resolve perpendicular to the magnetic field, v sin theta. Okay, so the magnetic field will not have any effect on because of the cos theta component, because here velocity and b makes an angle of 0 with each other. Okay, and because they make an angle of 0 with each other, v cross b will be vb sin f will be equal to, let me work that out more clearly, f will be equal to q v cross b. Now for the cos component, or the component of velocity in direction of b, it will be q vb sin theta. So the component of velocity which is along, so here theta will be 0, because this component of velocity is making 0 angle with the p, and sine of 0 is 0. So in this direction, along the v direction, it will continue this component of velocity will not change, and the charged particle will continue to have the same velocity in this direction. But in the perpendicular, in this direction, because this b, this component is perpendicular to v. Okay, because this component is perpendicular to v, because of this perpendicular, what we know, because of the perpendicular component, it will go round and round in circles. Okay, and the radius of the circle will be equal to now m v. So the component of velocity which is perpendicular to this is sin theta. So radius will be now r will be equal to m v sin theta divided by qb. So now in this direction it will go in a circle, but it will still have a component of velocity which is perpendicular. So what will happen is it will go round and round in circles in a helical path. So the component of velocity in this direction is v cos theta, and along this direction it is v sin theta. So it will go round and round in circles. If we give an angle, so the component in the direction of the velocity along the axis of this helical path will be v cos theta, and the radial or tangential component of the velocity will be v sin theta. Let us now discuss what will be the effect of magnetic field on a wire which is carrying current. So let us take a wire which is carrying current. Let me for simplicity take a straight wire which is carrying a current of I. So if a wire is carrying a current I, that means we know that it has electrons which are moving in opposite direction with a drift speed Vd. So if current is going here, the velocity, the net drift velocity of the electrons will be in opposite direction. And we know that if we place any moving charge body in a magnetic field, say the direction of the magnetic field is like this, B. Okay, so if we know that if any charged particles are moving in a magnetic field, they will experience a force. And a current carrying wire is nothing but it has electrons which are charged particle in motion. So because charged particle in motion experiences a force in a magnetic field, a current carrying wire will also experience a force when it is kept in a magnetic field. Let us derive what is the formula for the total force experienced by a current carrying conductor when kept in a magnetic field. So to do that, let us first analyze one single electron. So one single electron, because it is moving in opposite direction to current, so Vd is a vector. So this electron is moving with a drift velocity Vd in direction opposite to the current, and this will experience a force of F is equal to minus E, because the charge is negative, and equal to minus E. E will be 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. E into, for Q, V cross B. So here velocity is the drift velocity, which I will write Vd cross B. Okay. Now, if I assume a small wire of length dl and the number of electrons per unit length as small n, then the total number of electrons in this small length dl will be, so the number of electrons in small length dl will be equal to number of electrons per unit volume into the total volume of this small length of wire. So the total volume of small length of wire will be the cross sectional area of the wire multiplied by the small length of the wire. So area into length will be the volume of wire. The total number of electrons in this small length of wire will be Na into dl. So total force or total small force dF experienced by this small wire will be equal to minus E minus N A dl E Vd in Vd cross B. Now I will just do some slight modification. I can take this vector Vd. Vd can be written as the magnitude of Vd multiplied by a unit vector in direction of Vd. Okay. So the Vd vector can be written as the magnitude of Vd into a unit vector which is in the direction of Vd. So I will just write minus N A dl E magnitude of Vd into a unit vector J which is in direction of Vd multiplied by B. Okay, and I can simplify this further, rearrange these terms. I can take Vd outside, N A E Vd dl. I will not write the negative sign here, I will write negative sign here, dl cross J, dl into J cross B. Now I can define dl, okay, dl dl cross j means now j is in direction of Vd. Okay, I can define a vector dl such that dl, the dl vector, the magnitude is equal to the length of the wire and direction is in the direction of current, and direction of current is opposite to the direction of velocity. So minus dlj, this term I can replace by a vector dl whose magnitude is equal to the length of the wire. So small length of the wire, magnitude of dl is equal to the small length of the wire, and direction is opposite to Vd or in the direction of the current. Okay, because we know that current is assumed to flow in direction of the opposite to the direction of the motion of electrons. So this I can substitute by dl vector, and this, if you remember the video from the current electricity, NaEVd is nothing but the current which is flowing inside the conductor. So this I can write it as I into dl cross B. So I dl cross B is equal to the df. So the total force on the full wire can be obtained by integrating both sides, and I can get integration of df will be the total force on the wire is equal to I integration of dl is the total length of the wire cross B. So this is the expression for the force experienced by a wire which is carrying a current I and is of length L. We have defined length as a vector whose magnitude is equal to the length of the wire and direction is the direction of current flowing. So force is equal to I L cross B. Now here again also we can find the direction of force experienced by the wire by using the right hand rule of vector cross product multiplication. So with this we have covered two effects of which magnetic field has. One, if it exerts a force on charges which are in motion. Two, it exerts a force on wires which carries current. There is also another effect worth investigating of current, which is of magnetic field. Is magnetic field also have a third effect, which is it exerts a torque on a closed current carrying wire. So let us examine this. Suppose I have a current carrying loop which is in the plane of the screen, okay, and I have a magnetic field in this region which is coming towards us, okay. So because of the magnetic field, each of these segments of wire will experience a force. So this wire segment will experience a force equal to I L cross B. This segment will experience, suppose it is carrying a current like this, so this should be like this, then it will be going like this. So it is carrying a current in counterclockwise direction. So because any current carrying conductor experiences a force in magnetic field, this wire will experience a force equal to I L cross B. This will also experience a force, this will also experience a force, this will also experience a force. Now suppose for a general case, the length is L, the length of the wire is L and the breadth of the wire is B, is denoted by B. So when it is perfectly in the plane of this of our screen, and the magnetic field is coming out towards us of the screen, there will be a force on this wire. If we apply the right hand thumb rule of IL cross B and figure out the direction of the force, then the force on this will be in this direction, on this wire it will be on this direction, on this wire it will be on this direction, and on this wire it will be on this direction. So this force will cancel out each other, this force and this force will cancel out this force, and they don't have any perpendicular distance between them. So in this case there will be no torque also on this wire. But suppose I rotate this plane, okay, I rotate this wire loop through an angle theta, considering the axis as this. So I rotate up, I join the midpoint of this and this side and form an axis, and I rotate the loop through angle theta about this axis. So it will look something like this. Okay, so this is the axis of rotation. Okay, this was the black circle with the original wire, and with this axis, green line, the axis, I have rotated it by an angle of theta. So the side view will look something like this. Okay, so earlier there was no perpendicular distance between this force and this force because all were in the same plane. But now if you consider this force and this force, so this end of the wire, so this one, this will be at a lower point, so it is inside the screen, and this wire is towards us or away from the screen. So in a side view it will look something like this. So this point is up, this point is down, so that this force and this force, this force and this force will now a couple. So this force is this force, and this force is this force. So these two forces will now form a couple, because now there is a perpendicular distance between these 2 points, these two forces. So this is the perpendicular. So I will join a parallel line. So this is the perpendicular distance between these two forces, and so these forces, this force will form a torque along about this point, and this force will also form a torque about this point. So if we see that the torque of this force, so what is F? F is nothing but I, the length of this wire, IL into B. So IL into B is the force on this wire. So F is equal to ILB. So the torque because of this force, torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Okay, so we know that torque is nothing but force into perpendicular distance. And what is the perpendicular distance? So if I want to find the torque about this point, what is the perpendicular distance between this point and the force? It is nothing but this, the distance from this, the axis, to the point of application of force, and this total length is B, and so half of this length will be equal to B by 2. The total distance is B, so half of this length is B by 2, and this is theta. So the perpendicular distance, so this side, considering this as an right angle triangle, the perpendicular distance will be nothing but B by 2 sine theta. From simple trigonometry, we can now, actually when I rotate it, then this will be B by 2. Earlier this one was B by 2. When I rotate it, this, because the length is always constant, I am not changing the length of the wire, so this comes to like this. So now this will be B by 2, so hypotenuse is B by 2. So this perpendicular distance from the end of the wire to this will be equal to, so up till this point it is B by 2. Now when I rotate it, this point will be b by 2, and the perpendicular distance will be b by 2 sine theta. So the torque will be equal to F into b by 2 sine theta, and there is another force. This will also apply a torque. Okay, so this is the torque because of this force, and there will be also torque because of the other side of the wire, so other F, so plus F into b by 2 sine theta. So this can be written as b by 2, it can be just written as F into b sine theta, and F is nothing but ILB. So replacing the value of F from here in this equation, I will get just ILB into b sine theta. So if I just rearrange this term, it will be, I can rearrange this as ILB b sine theta, and LB is nothing but the area of this length cross braid. L into B is nothing but the area of this loop. So I can just replace it as I into A B sine theta, and in vector terms I can replace this as torque is a vector. Torque is equal to I into A cross B. Okay, where A is the area vector. Area vector is given by the normal towards this. Okay, so in next video I will tell you the method of how to find the direction of the area vector. It will be along the normal to this area, and the torque is given by cross product of the area vector into the magnetic field vector. In general case, this we have derived the formula for the torque on a loop which has only one loop. Suppose I have multiple loops, I can have n number of loops here. So the general case is torque, I have to add the torque because of all the loops. So if I have one loop, it will be I A cross B. If I have two loops, it will be 2 I A cross B. If I have 3 loops, it will be 3 I A cross B. If I have n loops, the torque will be equal to n times. So n I A cross B. So in this video we have discussed that magnetic field has 3 effects. First effect is it exerts a force on a charge which is in motion. So it can exert the effect of magnetic field on a charge magnetic field exerts a force on a charge which is at motion. It has no effect on a charge which is at rest, but it exerts a force on a charge which is at motion, which is given by Q V cross B. The second effect which we studied is a magnetic field also exerts a force on a conductor which is carrying current. And the third effect of magnetism which we studied is it exerts a torque on a closed current carrying loop, and the value of that torque is given by Ni A cross B. So with this we conclude this video. See you in the next video.